Good morning, traders, and happy Friday. It is 8:01 a.m. Chicago time on Friday, the 25th of March, 2022. A quick mic check, please, just to start things off. This is episode number 2199. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Robotic voice. Okay, stand by.
Test, test, test. Testing. Test one, two, three. Test. Test. Testing. Hello? Anybody? Testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, this is very odd. I apologize for this. I'm not sure what's causing this, but one second.
Testing, one, two, three, test, test, test. Two streams. I don't get that two streams thing. We're going to get this right, folks. I think the latest upgrade of the software has created all kinds of problems. All kinds of problems. System sound 0. All right. Test, this should be okay now. Sorry about this. Yeah, these videos are intended to be clean. Um, so let's just keep going because I got to get through this stuff here. Um, I'm not sure why this is happening. I apologize for it. I'll have to do some testing this weekend, but let's focus on the market currently. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This should be better now. This should be better. I see the problem. Okay. So the market stance is mild risk on currently. Not much in terms of use. The numbers out of the UK and Germany. Numbers are out of the UK and Germany. Great Britain retail sales came in much worse than expected, negative 0.3%. versus zero point 0.6 today. Germany's IFO business climate, which is a major business confidence number, came in at 90.8 versus 94.2. So a little bit disappointing on that front. In terms of what's ahead, we're looking for a Michigan Sentiment Final at 10 o'clock Eastern. Pending home sales is relatively important month on month. We're looking for a rise of 1%. And then we have Fed speakers 10, 11:30, and 12 Eastern, Williams, Barkin, and Waller. And that pretty much wraps up the day. Um, yeah, I have to get past this sound issue, to be honest with you. I just need to push through. In terms of the S&P, we've traded 154,000 contracts. We have pushed through that 1417 area. We've had a mild pullback on Wednesday and took it all back yesterday, and this is looking awful bullish. Next area up is 4560. 4560. The current point of control is at yesterday's high, basically, or thereabouts, or the high of the last three sessions, let's call it. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday, the high was 14 and a half ish. Wednesday, the overnight high was 14. The RTH high was 93.70, 44, 93.75. And yesterday, we got to 1350 and pushed through, I think, the high yesterday. Yeah, 1350. So that 45, 14, 15 area is now relatively important. The S&P has traded 31 and a half points so far. Pretty decent range, but you've noticed that the range is collapsing, is just falling off. And so the overall picture here is that the market is really climbing a wall of worries. Let's take a look at what was expected yesterday. The primary scenario to follow on to the trend here is that we are likely to make an attempt higher and sell off. The expectation is we would sell off into 44.32 and potentially test 44.12. But the secondary scenario is a pullback to as much as 50 to turn around and push to 4,500 for a 50-point range. Here's what actually happened yesterday. Yesterday we had, hang on, let's pull up the close-up. So yesterday, open auction in range, right in here. By the way, if you're a Convergent Trading member, you should watch the Anatomy of a Trade yesterday, the study hall. I went over the short that was taken in here. The short was taken in here for a full stop, and then the long that was taken on the pullback to look to catch the move into 77 and a quarter. We got the 78 and a quarter for the IB high. Pretty deep pullbacks yesterday. Like this would have caused a stop out. And then we ultimately ended up pushing the prior session high at 93.75 right in here. So what we did on Wednesday is we reversed the one-time framing up into down, and then yesterday we re-reversed the one-time framing, which was setting up to be down, back to up. So we ended up taking out the prior session's high. So right now we're back in a trend, and yesterday was just a pullback consolidation or a very, very brief flag, a one-day flag. Note that yesterday we closed with a very weak high in that 13 area, the prior high 14 and a quarter, and we closed at 13.5 with a point of control with the prior settlement of 45.12. Multi-distribution profile, but the most important thing to take away is the auction was incomplete on the high there, and so it made it so that the overnight session is likely to continue to squeeze higher. Speaking of the overnight session, here it is. So let's look at it clean first. So the overnight session opened right here, and immediately we get a pop through the high. We pull back to this 4,500 area, and then we've been holding high again, putting in a high flag again. And so what this has been is a run up, pull back, and yesterday basically acted as a pivot point, and then we are proceeding higher. The pullback was very, very shallow, and not something that would instill a lot of confidence in the shorts. Delta relatively strong today, pretty good lifting into today's session. Notice that yesterday's rally had a pretty negative delta in it. It's just showing potential hedging on the way up, hedging at better and better and better prices. This morning they're lifting a bit, but we'll see how that changes as the session begins. So, bringing everything back, let's get rid of these. Excuse me. I hit the plus sign by mistake here. So we have an upper distribution, we have a low volume node and a lower distribution. The point of control is at the lower distribution, which is basically against that multi-day high. See this line right here? Multi-day high, which is the overnight point of control. So to me, as long as it holds above this 45, 20, 22 area, something like that, then the drift higher is going to make it easier for the buyers to get us up to the next key area up. The next key area up, if we push below, the push below does not in and of itself, nullify the fact that we have an upper distribution here, but a push down that attempts to push higher and faces resistance is likely to have us rotating back down into the 4,500, 4496 magnet. So if I turn on my stock zones here, you'll see the purple band, which is our key magnet or the most accepted price in the area. That key magnet shifts up here for Monday if we end up pushing higher. I'm expecting key resistance to be at 45.7750 for today's session. Support is well below, around 44. Where is support? 4403. So more than 100 points below. So this is really skewed for buyers, and we do have a pretty good delta helping that out. So keep an eye, for the session. Keep an eye on this over/under line at 44.15. 44.15 is going to be very important, and we have a minor over/under right at this 45.23 area. So that's the first thing. Do we hold that 45.23? Do we fall through? If we fall through, do we go back and push through so we found buyers below, or do we fall through, try to push back, find resistance, and now we're really primed to squeeze some of these long deltas out by selling off into the session down back into the magnet of 4,500. That's what we're looking for today. It is that simple in terms of what's expected for today. So far the session, you can see that we've created a few zipper kind of consolidations. There really is a nondescript trade here so far. I wouldn't feel confident holding on to anything given the kind of action that we've had. Very strong spurts up, strong spurt down, and it's back and forth with a positive delta. So I'm not sure I would be very confident either way. This is the TPO chart or classic market profile chart. Let's expand this a little bit. And what we have is essentially an excess low at yesterday's low right here. Below the 56, we have an excess low. We had an excess high at 08. If you recall, I talked about this yesterday. Um, I talked about this yesterday that if it does get above '08, it's likely to squeeze very quickly into the 20s and then eventually to that 56, 60 area. I talked about that yesterday. We put in a little bit of a run yesterday afternoon at that same price, 45.0775 versus 45.08. So we are seeing a spurt as soon as we get up there. This morning, the first support as we push below that low volume node, as we push under the over underline. Now remember, 45.15 right here is the over under stock zone, right? This is the over under stock zone. The first support is likely to be '08. So I'd like you to kind of make a mental note to yourself about the '08 for a fall. It's likely to fight this 15 and look like it is a continuation trade, but I'm likely to take a long here at the '08, the excess that was the burst of singles that were left behind on Tuesday and Thursday. There's likely to be a bounce here. So let's watch for that. Hold me to it on Monday, by the way, when we come in on Monday and talk about this. Remind me that I said this and hold my feet to the fire when it comes to this. As far as the other side, we're looking down at 56 here. And then if we break down, I'm going to ask you, if we break down and hold in here, what would your expectation be for the rest of the session and for Monday? What would you expect to take place? Can you tell me? What is the expectation if we break below the '08, take out the double O? What is the expectation? That there will be a huge sell-off? Yeah, we would expect balance. Why? Because we have 3 days that are overlapping and we are likely to fill this in. So I would not, the expectation would not be fall in here and fall right through. Barring news, I'm expecting that, again, let me draw this. I'm not going to do the scenarios today because I want to cut out. Barring news, I'm expecting this to fall to the 15. This is your over under, right? Fall into the 15, bounce. If it does get through the 15, the '08, okay, this is where the excess began. The '08, potentially bounce. Barring the hold of '08, it is likely to push into the 90, basically push into the prior day's point of control. The volume point of control is 44.8975, which is in line with the TPO point of control. I expect it to push in here, slide a little bit, and then basically do this for the rest of the session. I expect it to fill this in. I do not expect it to run through because there is an area here of 3 days of push-pull that are likely to stimulate trading on both directions. When do I expect it to squeeze down at the 4,400? When should we expect that it's very likely to squeeze down into the 4,400? You tell me. What has to happen probably? What do we have to see factually, market generated? What do we have to see to start looking at a very likely test of 4,400? Okay, we have to see it get through the 56, get into the excess here below 56. Once it gets below 56, it is likely to trickle straight down into the 4,400. So right in this zone, this becomes your zone, not expecting it to be support, but once it gives up this zone between 56 and 46, 56 and 46, where it found buyers before, if it cannot find those buyers, remember we finished neutral extreme down 2 days ago and ended up higher. These guys are all likely to get squeezed if we get below 56 to 46. And then it's likely to be a very, very persistent race to 4,400, 44.05 is my key support down below. Okay, that is the map. Okay, so that's basically the map. Let me show you again what things look like. Again, this morning, the key scenario is likely to be open, chop. We're opening an open auction, gap rules, and I'm looking for it to hold the gap and then start moving towards 50, 45, 45, 50, and then potentially 45, 65. If it holds up here, that's only 40 points away, 25 to 40 points away. If it doesn't, and I don't know which scenario is which, it may squeeze the high, get us our overnight stat, get an impulse, get through this low volume node right here, get through the low volume node, bounce off the 15, break, use the 15 for resistance, which gives us an opportunity for a short. Then we're looking for it to bounce at the 08. This is the 08. And if it doesn't do that, then we're back at the 4,500 and we're likely to just mess around there for the rest of the day. Just basically hold this area here and build a belly right against the magnet. Basically fill more of the MC point of control. Okay, so that's what it looks like. I'll look into this nonsense with the audio. I want to remind you again to sign up to win one of 3 Bose headsets, high-end Bose headsets. They sell for about $350 a piece, something like that. You can do this by going to edgeclear.com/deli. I'm going to be on the Futures Radio Show with Anthony Crudelli. We call him Deli. I'm going to be on that show on the 30th. The deadline for entering, which you can enter using the form on the website. Make sure you look at the rules. The deadline to enter is an hour before the show begins. So at 11 Eastern on Wednesday is the deadline. We plan on spinning the wheel and drawing winners during the show. I'll be talking about the how-tos of trading sustainably. That's the topic. I hope to leave you with a bunch of important, actionable pointers to work with. Again, edgeclear.com/deli for a chance to win 3 Bose headsets. Good luck, and I'll catch you on Monday.